Hey everyone, checking in on the market. Late night video tonight as I've been distracted with the cryptocurrency world as that's going nuts. Nice to see, but checking in on the market. So today was the kind of day on the S&P 500, I've talked about it in previous videos, where I like to eliminate one side of the equation. And I headed into this morning saying, okay, as a day trader, we are overextended as bulls. I do not like bullish entries this morning for short-term time periods. So that tells me I'm looking bearish or I'm not trading today. So the bearish setups were top fishing plays. Tesla had a top fishing play heading right into the morning, and that's looking at the resistance of the previous day, the high of the day. And if we cannot break that level first thing, we look for healthy hourly consolidation. We know we're not going to lose hourly uptrends in the initial pullback because we have so much space to work with before the last hourly high or low was set. So we look at the high of the day, and if we can't break, we pull back. And the same thing happened with SPY. We could not break the high of yesterday, 286.16. First thing, the bell rings, we top out at 286.02, and then we drop down to 285.09. Not a huge opportunity. At this point, you set your stop loss at break even and you hope for significant pullback, or you lock in your short-term gains as a short-term trader, again, knowing that we're just going to form an hourly high or low. This is Monday's action, so anything above the low of Monday is a high or low, and we formed a healthy hourly support level at the low of today before the bulls showed back up. Still having some resistance at 286.16. Some news of China and US did just come out, more progress, and we are seeing futures run higher as the bulls are affirming they are in full control. So everybody keeps, no matter what I post these videos, there's always someone talking about the stock market bubble. There's always someone talking about the crash that's going to come. Yes, be prepared for it, have a game plan, but do not fight this trend because the bulls are in full control on pretty much every time frame that you look at this point, and we're knocking on the door of all-time highs. So be prepared for anything, but do not fight this trend because I guarantee there's a lot of fundamental bears out there that are making themselves miserable trying to counter this. So we have our new hourly high or low. When we lose the hourly uptrend, we zoom out and we look for healthy weekly consolidation. So anything above 285.09 is a higher low. Break that level. And then anything on the daily above 277.93 will be a higher low. And as far as resistance goes, again, very limited to the all-time high. I'm looking up at 288.86 as the next major resistance level, and then it's the all-time high right there. IWM, most important resistance level is 156.45. Actually, 156.53, the highest price here, which is just a lower high. We double topped on IWM as well, another top fishing play. We couldn't break the high of yesterday first thing this morning by 4 pennies, and then we pulled back, or even less than that. We couldn't break resistance is the bottom line, and then we pulled back. Yep, it was 4 pennies. So top fishing plays aplenty this morning, and if we see further pullback, we have to establish a daily higher low compared to 148.41, and then try and change and break these lower highs, because it's unlikely that we're going to just see a V-shaped recovery to break 156.53. We may need another higher low and then the break, which would essentially be an inverse head and shoulders pattern if that were to play out that way. QQQ got the bull break of 182.83 that we needed to see. Not a very convincing bull break at this point. Bulls are going to try and follow through a bit more tomorrow. But again, we look at the weekly time frame. All-time high on the tech sector is right there. You cannot have more of a V-shaped recovery than we have had at this point. 187.53. It's really astounding when you look at it. Literally 3.5 months with one red week. Insanity. 187.53 is that resistance. And that's all we're looking at. As far as the hourly support on QQQ, it's really the low of 181.78, the low of today, as our most recent hourly high or low. XLF on the daily time frame, we're looking for a lower high to form compared to 27.10. Anything under that level is a lower high. We were scouting out for weakness. We started the morning strong, so we do still have the hourly uptrend. And I would say if we can see a bear break of 26.23, which is a base of support, break 26.23 and our daily lower high will be set, and then we'll look for the daily higher low to need to form, similar to IWM, just in the sense that resistance is far away enough that we may need another higher low before we can try and make our way up to those levels, keeping in mind that the financial sector does have earnings in a couple weeks. Biotech sector heading towards key resistance, so it's all about 92.99 here. If we break that level, it's very notable for the healthcare sector bulls, the biotech sector bulls. If we cannot break that level, the equilibrium will continue to tighten. So it's all about 92.99 resistance, which is in sight for tomorrow. And let's just see where we stand here in futures trading. Right now it's 9:40 p.m. Eastern. So here's where we were at the end of the day, and we are not huge gap up, but setting up for a potential gap up open. VIX on the daily time frame, we're still looking for 1240 to hold. And closer we get to that level, the better the risk to reward. But again, we're not seeing any real weakness in the market. So at this point, I would be comfortable hedging against bullish positions by scaling in based off of this support. But I certainly wouldn't be going too aggressive if I were only trying to just make a standalone trade based off of anticipating that 1240 will hold and will get a bounce to stay in this tightening range. So worth keeping an eye on. Just be aware that the instruments here like TVIX are right on the verge of lower lows because of time decay built in. Still holding though. So that support level is on watch first thing tomorrow on TVIX and UVXY, our recent lows. Oil is a raging beast of a bull, certainly helping the S&P 500 double top at 60.37, giving way to a huge move because there is no resistance. Easily moving for these bulls. Hourly support intact this entire move. The 4-hour uptrend, anything above 61.58 maintains a higher low. And looking at the daily chart, all bulls. Certainly due for consolidation in the short term. Inventory report is tomorrow. And any consolidation, again, this is why the bulls are so comfortable. Any consolidation in SPY and oil on the daily time frame, and we're just looking for higher lows. The bulls have tons of space to work with. Natural gas, weak, no follow through. Daily inside bar, the 4-hour time frame did not change the trend to the bulls. We had the low, high, higher low, lower high, lower low. So failed. Still watching the tightening weekly pattern and patiently waiting. We'll see how this daily inside bar breaks in the short term as it continues to tighten up. So yes, we are extremely strong as bulls. Yes, we should prepare in case we fall apart at the seams to have a game plan of what we would do, but don't fight the trend. The trend is your friend. The market, yes, it's rigged. We've known that from day one. This is a rigged game. We have to accept that, and we have to ride the coattails of the direction that big money wants to go. And big money wants it to go up right now. And as long as that's the case, that's the direction we should be looking. Have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow. So adventure time, we are still in Utah, heading to Bryce Canyon National Park, hanging out in some caves and in some canyons in the meantime, and an otherworldly place. So in Bryce Canyon, it's known for all these, I think they're called them hoodoos, but it looks like those sand castles you make when you put the wet sand in your hand at the beach and you dribble to make those really cool shapes. And these are just eroded kinds of rock from rain and time and wind that create some really cool patterns and some nice colors and landscapes. Sand castles bigger than you are. Bristlecone pines. These are the oldest trees in the world. A lot of people think that redwoods are the oldest trees in the world, but it's actually bristlecone pines. And there are bristlecone pine trees that were alive 2,000 years ago. I think the oldest one was around when Troy was happening, something absurd. But there are trees that were around when Jesus was doing his thing. That's a pretty cool looking, I mean, it just looks like a castle. Someone built a castle out of big rock. And it's wind that makes these holes and how they erode. Nice little looking hole. Some morning mist making things nice and eerie. And I ended up camping at a spot. There was a fire that ran through here. So this is where I was camping. And to have that mist going on, and there were these cows in some national parks and national lands, they have agreements with ranchers that allow for grazing and things like that. So there was this little herd of cows where I was camping off in the mist, and it was this eerie but very cool spot. This was the overlook of right where I was camping. The colors were insane. Again, the camera doesn't do a great job here, but the purples and orange and green and gray, pretty much a rainbow in the rock. And that's about that. Next, we're going down to Las Vegas. And there's actually some decent nature spots outside of Las Vegas. Lake Mead, and there's a mountain range. I forget what it's called. But I went to Las Vegas. I had a couple friends there. And he was a pro, quote-unquote, pro poker player at the time. And I've been playing poker since high school. Made a video because there are huge amounts of correlation between trading and playing poker. So that's on our YouTube channel if you want to check it out. But Went and lived in Vegas for about a month on this road trip, just bouncing around between camping and crashing on my friend's couch. And we'll get to that next time. See you then.